Sarah, no.
It's better to wait for the right one.
It is. Oh yeah. But
Than
sometimes it's just, I'm just looking at it like, God, you real funny. Okay. You real funny. Because like I wanted to do things a certain way, and when I was about to do them, it was like Holy Spirit was like, nope, leave it. And I was like, okay. Wanted to skip past this person. Holy Spirit was like, nope, say hello. And I was like, okay. And I'm like, now it's like, okay, both of y'all real funny.
Oh my goodness. That is, it's funny because I told Tayron this story on I don't think it was out of our first 3 dates, maybe a later date. Yeah, it was a later date. But I had made sure I had told my 2 best friends because I was like, I don't want anyone to think I'm making this up. The day that I was introduced to Tayron, we shook hands. We met at the old building for, it was Kingdom Culture still at the time. So we met at the old building. And when we shook hands, I had never felt what I felt in my life when I shook his hand. And it was like, I felt like the Lord being like, just like, watch what I can do. And it freaked me out, it freaked me out. So I was just like, And for a while before we became friends, I would dodge him. I would, because mind you, I met him within that like 2-month period of me starting that man fast. And so I was like, well, for one, ain't nothing about to happen, between me and nobody because, I'm not looking at nobody. But I just was like, I have to dodge around him. But for whatever reason, we always would end up having to meet and be around each other, or I ended up knowing so many people connected to him and vice versa. And it was just like, I don't know what's happening. I don't like it. I don't like this. This is weird. But yeah, that initial meeting and that initial connection with someone. And when you're like, oh Lord, wait, what? Like, what? No, I don't want to. Yeah, I'm going to do it anyway. Oh, I have to do it.
Right.
What? No. It's weird and awkward, and yeah, I was running because I wanted absolutely nothing to do with whatever that was supposed to be.
So when you
but here we are.
Dating Tayra, was there any like fear, like you guys started talking about marriage and stuff like that? Was it like any fear or is this really gonna happen? Like yes and no. When I first, like, our first date wasn't a date. He didn't ask me out on a date. He was like, hey, you free and want to hang out tonight? And I was like, oh, okay. And after that first date, he called, oh, did you make it home? And then he was like, so, like, we enjoyed ourselves conversation, and him, okay, well, could we consider that a first date? And and I was like, well, yeah, of course, yeah, okay. We both knew that to enter a relationship, we weren't entering in a relationship to
just have fun. We were dating with a very specific intention, and we didn't consider ourselves in a relationship until about 3 months after we had a huge amount of dates. I don't even remember how many anymore. Past the third date,
he hid it from me for a while. Okay,
I was like,
I thought you tell me everything else.
Yeah. You know, it was, we didn't like say, oh, it's a relationship, or, you know, it was a great number of days. Past the third one, I was just like, okay, I'm gonna say I'm not seeing anyone else. You know,
remember when I first met you, I did not know what was going on. I was highly confused. He didn't say anything. He didn't introduce you as his girlfriend. He just said, this is friends. I was like,
you know,
okay.
That was December. And he still did not make us official until a whole nother month. Because, and I would ask, and be like, so like, what are we doing? Because I need clarification. I'm not gonna just keep going out on dates. What are we doing? What's happening? And then I just stopped. I just stopped asking. And I was just like, I remember telling myself, I was like, come Valentine's Day. I don't know why I was gonna wait that long, but I told myself, come Valentine's Day, if he has not like verbally said what we are, I'm good and we can just stay friends. But literally maybe like a week after that, because I stopped saying anything, we were driving somewhere, or we were going out somewhere, or he came to visit me. That's what it was. He came to visit at my mom's, and as he was leaving, he made the comment of like, why do you act like I'm not your boyfriend? I said, because you have not asked to be my boyfriend. And he was like, okay, well then, you know, can I be your boyfriend? Are you gonna, you know, be my girlfriend? And he was like, I feel like this is really elementary. And I was like, I know, but I'm old, and that's I need that.
You know what? That day I met you and I was confused, and I told him I was confused, and he said, oh, that's my girlfriend, before he even asked you to be his girlfriend. That day he said, oh, that's my girlfriend, and I was like, well, why didn't you say that? I was
what? I did not know
like, he walked you out to your car and all that stuff that night. And then some crazy stuff happened after that, and we had to go back into his apartment, and I'm like, who? And he was like, that's my girlfriend. Yeah, we've been talking for a while. We went out on some dates, and I'm like, well, why didn't you say that?
Oh my goodness.
He didn't even actually.
No, he has not.
He claimed you before he claimed you.
Yes. Oh my goodness. That is so funny. He's a character. But after we established that, we made sure that we reiterated rather that we were going, so we're doing this, and prayerfully the end result is marriage. That's where we're going with this. That's, you know, and we both had told each other that if at all within our prayers that we were told not to be together, that we would keep that we would, you know, come to the other and tell that person, the Lord said, thus says the Lord. You know,
Lord don't lie. He'll let you know.
Right. But yeah, the fear in the beginning, I wasn't super scared. there was like an inkling, because it was like, oh my gosh, like, oh, you're serious. This might be it. It was more of like a nervous excitement thing. It didn't really become like a fear until leading up to the engagement. So I didn't know for sure that he would be proposing when he was proposing. I had the inkling. My daughter did try to hint it to me. So I was like, you know what? I think he is. I think so. But at the same time, because I knew that we had both sat and I was, you know, he was like, do you have like a time frame for where you would want to be married, or where you would be like waiting, like, where's my ring? And I said, I think 12 to 18 months is when I would start being like, you know, you should know by now if you want to spend the rest of your life with me or not. For me, I was like, 12 to 18 months, I think, is going to be like where I'm going to start having like an itch. So I wasn't fully sure that 7 months in, he'd be proposing. Yeah, like I said, my daughter kind of, you know, hinted, and I think as we were leading up to it, he would ask more questions about what I expected from marriage and what marriage meant to me and for me. Then I started to get afraid. Because I had like this whole perfect idea of what I thought, you know, marriage is gonna be. This is what it is, you know, tall, dark, and handsome, you know, 3 kids. Well, actually, I'm not gonna lie, I was like 10 kids, and yeah, you know, for me, 10 kids, and I would, you know, I could work from home, and I had this whole big thing. But when he would ask, what he was asking were things about, like, in-depth questions about what a marriage was going to look like. Things that you don't necessarily think about when you're thinking of what it's going to look like when I get married. You know? And so that would scare me. Because I'd be like, oh my goodness, what if my answer wasn't good enough for him? What if now he's thinking like, I don't want to marry her? Like, you know, or what if it doesn't go that way? What if it does? Then what? What if it does go that way and it's not what I wanted? What if it's what I thought I wanted? So, yeah, you know, so there was
that's scary.
Right. You know, what if I get what I want and then, it's not what I wanted? So there was so much there because, you know, for me, I'm like, well, in those vows, it says till death do us part. So one of us is dying to get out this marriage. You know, one of us got to go if we gonna get out this marriage. And so that is where fear kicked in as it got closer to that engagement, without me knowing it was getting closer to the engagement. But that's when it would kick in, you know. And then also I had like fears of what happens with my daughter, you know, getting married, because I didn't have a great relationship with the stepfather that I had. And so I didn't want to bring that in to the marriage. But you worry, like, what if they don't get along? They get along fine right now. Like, they love each other right now. So what happens? What happens when they live together? Because we don't, you know what I mean? It's one thing to be like, we go out and we have like a fun day and then we go home. But when you're married and you all get up in the same house, get ready in the same house, go out, come back all together, things are different.
When she's a teenager, she's not gonna like either of y'all, so it's fine.
Oh. Girl, I think we are there. Okay. She's already like, the both of y'all get on my nerves.
I hit that when I was like 11. I was like, hey, just kill yourself out.
It's a scary time. Girl, that's a scary time. I look at her, I go, oh, I hope I was not this bad at this age. I hope I was not this bad. I don't.
My mother said she would look at me because I blossomed very early. So she was like, she would look at me and she'd be like, the countdown, it's gonna, her mind is gonna catch up with her body.
Yes. Oh no.
I'm like, sorry. You don't know. But yeah, I would, even being in a relationship when you're married and you have an argument when you're dating, y'all can just go your separate ways.
Exactly.
Then when you're married, it's like, I still gotta look at your face.
That is exact. It's and then you don't want to go to bed mad, so you like, oh, we have to like figure something out before we fall asleep, and you're just like, but you are annoying me right now. So that has been interesting for us because neither of us have lived with another person. And so that was a major, it still is, because we've only been married 3 months. So it's still a major adjustment. You are taking two different people who were raised two different ways, who lived two different ways on their own and with their families. And so you put these two different people in a house or an apartment, and you go grocery shopping, and you come home with the groceries, and you start to put the groceries away in your brand new apartment for the first time, and you're looking at him like, why would you put that there? That don't go there. It don't make sense. And he's looking at you like, that ain't where the fork should be, because you did things totally different. You go into your bedroom and you want to put your shoes a particular way, and they're like, nah, shoes don't go there. Shoes go on top of the closet. And I'm like, who puts shoes on the top of the closet? Like, who does that?
I'll put you on that one. Who puts shoes on top of the closet?
You're taking just two totally different worlds and colliding them into one. And you just have to, what my best friend was telling me, like, all that you two are going to do now is find your new way. So you guys are going to take a little bit of what he brings and a little bit of what you bring, and then it becomes your way. And that's what the new normal will be. She was like, it takes time, but that's what it becomes. And so, because I tell you, that first like month, I was like, if he puts something out of place one more time, this is driving me crazy.
And then the cycle continues. You guys make your new normal, which Lyric will then learn, and then
she
find
gets
somebody.
Right. One day she gets to drive someone crazy.
And then they gotta create a normal.
I'm telling you, but it's a beautiful thing. The process in the beginning is, you're like, oh my goodness, but I know it'll become beautiful, because that was the thing that got me, was we're creating our own, and that's like the most beautiful part of a marriage to me, has always been that new creation. It's always been one of my favorite things to sit and watch people in two places. To watch them as they become a husband and wife. And that's actually my second favorite. My very first favorite is to watch a person become a parent. that is the most beautiful thing in the world to me. Watching someone become a parent. The changes that take place are just, like, I just want to be like, thank you, Lord, for allowing me to watch this, experience it. I love watching someone become a parent. It's so beautiful.
I took care of an infant for a week, and I was like, I need a father. I need a husband. I can't be a single parent. I just can't do this alone. She was young. Her parents went out on vacation. She was my niece, and I took care of her for a week. She was a baby. And the things that I was like, a mother's love, because I didn't get no sleep. She would move, like, I would have her in the bed with me. She would move an inch, and I'd be like,
yeah.
I would take her to church. Pastor Greg, he was like, oh, you gonna be a mama. Because he was talking to me. I had her in this arm. I had a bottle, making a bottle, going like this. And I was like, what was you saying? He was like, oh, you gonna be a mama.
Yes.
Like, I need a husband because I can't do this by myself. God bless my mama and every other single mother. Because I just had her for a week, and I was just like, oh.
Yes.
Pray for it. She's hot. Take this off. What? Bath time. And I was like, I need a husband. And you can't die on me. Okay.
No, you can't die on me. Oh my goodness.
You can't.
My goodness.
So what would you say your victories? Your victories are from being single up until you started dating Tamara.
Let's see. Patience became one of the biggest victories for me, because I was very short-tempered and quick to, like, oh, you know what, you're working my nerves, I can't deal with this. But I learned patience because I learned why I had became so short-tempered. I hadn't dealt with a lot of things that I was dealing with at that time, that I started dealing with. And I had an issue with not ever feeling heard. So I'd be quick to be like, well, you're not, you ain't listening to me. Yes. You're not listening to me. But I learned a lot of patience. I learned a lot of patience with my child, and I learned a lot of patience with just other people around me. I would have to say another victory for me was just going back to get my education. Being a single mom, I had, one income. And I always, for the most part, made enough to make sure that we had our necessities. But I wanted more. I wanted to be able to provide more for my daughter. And now she's 10, but at that time she was 6, 7, going on 7, had just turned 7. And I knew that the teenage years were going to be coming quickly. And I wanted to make sure that I was not working a job that was going to keep me away from her in those crucial years. I was like, I was driving buses. So I was like, I cannot keep working.
Bus job. It's a lot.
Girl.
My best friend was in it. It's a lot.
It is not for the faint of heart. I knew, and don't get me wrong, I loved driving. I loved my passengers. People always thought I was weird. They was like, you get crazy people. I love them too. I loved it. It just wasn't my career. It wasn't my calling, but I so appreciate the experience of the job and the pay. Okay?
Yeah, the pay is crazy. The hours are long.
The hours are long and crazy. You've got crazy split shifts. You've got all kinds of stuff. There would be like some nights or days where I was like, I saw Lyric get up, I dropped Lyric off so I could go to my shift. By the time I got off of work, she's already sleeping. I'm not going to get to see her again until tomorrow. So, it was just crazy. And I wanted to make sure that I had got an education. I would go back to school so that I'd be able to find a job that would be better for us, where I could be home for my kid, you know, to help with homework, so that I could be home during, you know, me and my best friend got in an argument and I'm upset. So I could be home because maybe she didn't do too hot on a math test. So I could be home just to be home with her. Though that was really important to me, because all I could think about was what was rough for me at that time. Junior high was rough. So I was like, I want to be home with my baby.
Sophomore year was really bad. I remember all my friends collectively, it was just depressing. Like, what's going on?
I'm telling you. And it's rough. It's hard. And I just want to be home with her. And I also wanted to finish what I had started. I dropped out of community college when I got pregnant with her. And I wanted to go back and finish what I started. So that was a huge victory for me, because while I only got my graduation in June was for my associates, it was a huge victory for me, because I looked at that and said, I finally finished something that I started. I had kept picking stuff up and dropping it, but I finished this. And I was like, I know it took me forever, because I had to come back to it, but I finished it. And it was the next victory. So I went back to get my education, but my next victory was that my daughter watched me walk across the stage to get that degree rather. And I had never seen my child more proud. And that made everything well worth it, knowing that she got to see that. But yeah, just learning patience and going back for my degree, and really learning what I was worth. And then taking that and being like, I'm going to triple it because I deserve that. Knowing that I was worth having someone love me the way I wanted to be loved. Not just any old kind of way or what they thought it was, but how I wanted it. I never experienced that from anyone. I had yet to, there's one person who was close, and that was my grandmother. So,
man, I agree.
Yeah, you know what I mean? She's probably the closest that could ever get to love me the way I would ever want to be loved on this earth. You know, not counting our Lord and Savior, but on this earth, she's probably the closest. So I learned that I am worth that. I'm worth somebody loving me the way I want to be loved. It's okay for me to tell someone I have standards and you don't meet them.
Right. I mean, one of my victories is being honest about being a virgin and telling that to somebody that I'm interested in, and if they don't like it, being totally fine with that. Because before it was, people make it shameful that you're a virgin these days because it's all about getting yours and how many and whatever. Yeah. So when you say you keeping it, I'm a virgin, I'm not having sex till marriage, and they look at you like,
right,
with you, or you know what? That's why you're single, because you won't give it up or whatever. And I'm like, oh, that's fine. Bye bye. Go away.
Because then you're not the one. You're not what's right for me. You know, that's one of the things. Like with Tay, he ain't gonna care. You know, being a virgin. And, you know, when he told me that, I was in shock, only because how rare is that to find? And I think he thought that would kind of scare me off or run me away, especially because it's like, well, you have a child, so, you know, that's the complete opposite of this. But for me, especially after taking that whole little journey, I knew that that's what I would need. I would need someone who wasn't going to push me or pressure me or make me feel like that that's what our relationship needed to be based on. I needed someone who was going to be centered in Christ and not try to turn me away. You know what I mean? Not try to get me to give up my salvation, you know, just for a good time in the bed, or maybe not a good time in the bed. I wouldn't know.
Right. That's part of the fear. I'm like, okay, I ain't never done it before.
Yeah. You know,
we're gonna get married one day and be like,
you'll get married and the two of you will be able to learn each other and take time to learn each other. And that's gonna be like, that's where the fun comes in, because you get to take the time and figure out each other,
right?
You know, versus we've been doing this for a while already.
I know. I've always thought that, like, when they decide to get married after being together for 15 years, and it's like, we're going on a honeymoon. It's like, what honeymoon? Like,
what for?
You're not newlywed, low key.
You've done everything already.
Like, you're newlywed, like, literally, legally, but like, you're not really newlywed. Like,
exactly.
You made your own traditions, everything.
That is so true. I mean, you know, you get married and you know, of course, that first night you're like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? What, yeah, you know, but that's why the two of you are there together for the first time together. And you decide that you guys get to decide on what you want to do, what you don't want to do. And that's like the beauty of it. It's just like when you move into your place and you figure out that new norm. That's what it's like. You know, again, that's the beauty of a marriage, the newness. And it's not always easy. Sometimes there'll be frustration, of course. But there's a newness to it, and that's where the beauty of it is. You know,
God has told me to do this whole powwow thing. And at first, when he told me to do it, I was just like, why? And then now that things are like happening, I'm like, oh, you want me to be vulnerable and like tell and show my personality and talk about topics that I'm actually going through at the moment. And oh, I see how you tried to play me, right? But I appreciate it.
You have some funny one. You know, the Lord has a wonderful sense of humor. I don't care what nobody says. I've always believed that his sense of humor is hilarious. Just wonderful. Because I'm telling you, this whole relationship, there's things I sit back and we'll sit back and we just laugh. So I'll be like, how did I know your sister-in-law and your brother before I realized that was your sister-in-law and brother? And you know, how did this work? And how the pieces all came together? Just sit and just be like, Lord, you're funny. I tell him all the time that while I had a whole life before him, the Lord had been putting into the works our union since I was 12.
Yeah, he told me about that.
Like, what, Lord? Like, why did we have to go through, you know, sometimes I still am like, well, why I had to go through certain things I had to go through if that, you know, if you
I feel like God is up there playing chess. Like, every clip has our names on it. And he's playing chess, and then we make a move, and it moves. And then, like, he'll do something, and he'll be like, checkmate. Let's see how you about to love this.
Right? Oh, you gonna see what happens right here.
Love this. Watch what happens.
I mean, he's amazing in the things he does. And a lot of times it's just that we find it so hard to just let go and to just let God. And it's just that simple. Let go, let God. And just trust that he's got our best interest. He's got our better than our best interest at hand. So, like, what more can I ask for? How can I ask for something better when he's going to give me better than the better than I'm asking for? Always.
Exactly. And even with dating and stuff, I would put like little, oh, he don't have this, or he don't look like that, or he not this height, or he not blah, 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 blah. And then now it's just like, I don't even care. Like, you're amazing. God, it's like, I told you not to care. Like, I don't care what you want.
Right. It's so funny. You write down like those physical traits. I think that was the first thing I learned that too during that time, was like, let go of the physical traits of what you think it's supposed to happen, you know, what he's supposed to be. Because am I going to tell the Lord that this man has everything else that I want, but he ain't the right height, I don't want him?
That's what listen.
You know, Lord.
I was literally up Googling height. I was like, well, okay, like if I look at it straight on, what's the difference between this height and this height? How tall? Oh, that ain't that bad. And then I was like, let me get out of Google before I start talking.
I mean, you know, we just got to get out of our head and just be like, okay, I trust that you're going to do exceedingly more than I ever thought it would be. Because I would have never thought Tehran would be that one. And that's not because of looks, and it's not because of that. It's just that I just wouldn't have thought I would meet my husband at Kingdom Culture on that day. I never thought that Jessica would have introduced us. You know what I mean? I would never thought that I would ever meet Jessica. You know, I never would have thought any of that would go down. You know, and so just trusting that the Lord is going to take you through it. He's not going to let you get hurt if you're relying on him. So we just have to let it go and just be like, okay, Lord, whatever he's supposed to look for. I did tell the Lord, just as long as I can still wear heels. Can I wear heels on my wedding day? Can we just do that? You don't have
I don't
to
even wear heels. I don't plan on wearing heels on my wedding day. That has never been in my plan, ever. I want to walk down the hill walk down the aisle in some heels. So I was like, is he gonna be tall enough for me to wear some heels? And you know, I'll let the rest of it go to you, and we'll be good. That's all I ask. I was sitting here I was like, Kevin Hart's wife is like way taller than him. Like, they look good. And, you know. Mind you, it's not that situation, but still, I was like, I mean, they happy. There's a lot of couples out here that are happy.
She said they're happy.
They are happy. They had their wedding picture, and he was here, and she was here.
Oh my goodness, that is
They're
so
happy.
funny.
They had a kid, and they here and here. It's fine. So I was like, God. But at the same time, nervous and excited. I actually said that today. I was like, I'm nerve-skited. You said, what does that mean? I'm nervous and excited.
Yes.
They're sprinkled in there. But I'm happy generally.
That's a good thing. That is a good thing.
What's the word of the Lord?
Oh my goodness. Just enjoy the ride.
That's what my best friend said today. Enjoy the ride. And I was like,
Just enjoy the ride.
There's some dips that I'm kind of scared of.
Well, I mean, on any good roller coaster, there's always some dips. So, you know.
I'm excited, nervous, not as scared after having this conversation. So it's all good. Aaron's not here to interrogate me, so that's good as well.
Yeah. Oh, girl, I'm telling you, he was so upset that this was not about him. He said,
if I would have told him this stuff, he would have been interrogating me as in, who are you talking to?
I'm sure he would.
So he's gonna have to wait as I go through the ride.
Oh goodness. Well, I'm so
conversation with you.
Yay.
You were like one of the first people on my list when I was thinking of topics. I was like, oh yes, we need to have this conversation. And then things started happening. I was like, oh, we really need to have this conversation. So I'm super excited. I'm super excited for when this all is over, this quarantine and stuff is over. So
yes,
your business going and my business going.
Oh yes.
So
I can't wait.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for sharing. And I wish you lots and lots of love. And I hope that you'll find some type of rest while you're going through this journey. Find some rest and just enjoy it. Just know that you deserve to enjoy it. So just let yourself enjoy it.
That's what I'm looking at. I'm like, oof, I really deserve this?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, you do.
When you've been single for a long time, you're like, dang. This is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm excited. But I wish you guys all the health and quarantine babies and business opportunities and patience dealing with Lyric and with Tayron.
With both, yes.
I wish all of that on you guys. I love you guys so much.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.